The following is produced by 5-Star Productions USA, which is solely responsible for its editorial content and is sponsored in part by a grant from Paul Mitchell Salon Hair Care.
More than a century ago, Henry David Thoreau, known throughout the world as the father of conservation, urged our society to appreciate the value of our vanishing wilderness. He worked to establish harmony between people and the environment. Today, his writings have taken on an even greater meaning in a world struggling to cope with global land preservation issues. I'm Ed Begley, Jr. Join me this week as today's environment explores new ways to address this and other environmental issues.
Today, City Council
reducing
9,000
reducing air pollutants by
a milestone.
30%. Educational programs.
The Walden Woods Project is an organization recently formed to protect the land Thoreau made famous. Today they have managed to protect 60% of these woods just north of Concord, Massachusetts. Here's a look at what's being done to help these and other environmentally sensitive areas.
I went to the woods because I wished to live deliberately, to front only the essential facts of life, and see if I could not learn what it had to teach. So said Henry David Thoreau when he moved to Walden Pond in 1845. Renowned for his classic writings, Thoreau today is recognized as the father of American conservation. Each day he walked the woods, observing the harmony of nature and formulating ideas about land preservation. One result was his masterpiece, Walden. Many people recognize this area as the birthplace of our modern-day environmental movement. Walden Woods is under siege. Today, it's listed by the National Trust for Historic Preservation as one of America's 11 most endangered historic places. Recently, a site just 1,400 yards from Walden Pond was saved from conversion to a 139-unit condominium complex. The Walden Woods Project, a group dedicated to the preservation of the area, raised over $3.5 million to acquire and preserve the land in its natural state. Now, a second developer is pushing forward with plans for a large office complex on another tract of land. Since 40% of the woods are privately owned, the threat of commercial development is a serious concern. To confront the problem by raising money to purchase these private parcels, a walkathon for Walden Woods was held in April of 1992. It raised over $175,000. Celebrity supporters that came out for the event included the Walden Woods Project founder and co-chairman Don Henley, Cheers star Kirstie Alley, L.A. Law actor Harry Hamlin, and Ed Begley Jr., host of Today's Environment. Mr. Coffee, a major corporate sponsor of the event, donated $10,000 and helped to co-sponsor the walk. Additionally, Mr. Coffee has printed Walden Woods Project membership information on 3.5 million of its coffee filter boxes. The company's ongoing commitment to environmental causes includes a penny-a-box program that passed on 1 cent for every box of coffee filters sold to other conservation organizations such as the Global Relief and Renew America. The Replanting of America program was initiated in 1990 when the town of Lyman, Colorado was devastated by a tornado. 1,200 mature trees were twisted from the earth, leaving the area a virtual wasteland. With nursery workers aiding state foresters and community volunteers, the Global Relief Group provided 500 trees to turn the town green again. Additionally, trees were donated to homeowners whose properties were affected by the storm. America's leading coffee maker company also helped to develop a partnership between the Global Relief Program and the Walden Woods Project. In this effort, the seed of famous and historic trees in Walden Woods are used to grow trees for sale to the public. The benefit is twofold. It encourages the planting of greenery, and it raises funds toward the $7 million still needed to keep Walden Woods from being paved over and lost forever. With the ongoing support of replanting programs, Mr. Coffee augments its concern for the environment through its internal recycling programs. What would Henry David Thoreau say of corporations like this who have made a commitment to the environment? Probably what he said more than 100 years ago. Goodness is the only investment that never fails.
Every year in the United States, we burn over 2 billion tons of fossil fuels. An 18-watt compact fluorescent light bulb will help. Its use will prevent a coal-burning electric power plant from releasing half a ton of carbon dioxide into our atmosphere. Today's environment learned of another effort being made to reduce toxic emissions into our air.
Located in the rolling countryside of Northern California are the geysers. These are hot springs that are a natural wonder to behold. The power and intensity of Mother Earth mysteriously appears, leaving us to wonder what other hidden marvels she has yet to show us. Man has found ways to use Earth's power sources, like geysers, to build upon his own strength and advance himself in the world of technology. These geysers are used to generate power at the 19 geothermal units owned and operated by the Pacific Gas and Electric Company. While this method of producing electricity requires no fuel and releases no emissions, there are some environmental setbacks. The steam and hot water found in geysers contains hydrogen sulfide, an odorous gas that smells something like rotten eggs. Workers at the geothermal plants add hydrogen sulfide abatement chemicals to take most of the smell away. The chemicals create fine sulfur particles that accumulate in the sludge held in these cooling tower basins. This byproduct needs to be removed periodically. Anywhere between 160 to 570 tons of it are removed from one cooling tower during a typical overhaul. The hydrogen sulfide and abatement chemicals contained in the sludge leave behind mercury and arsenic concentrations, making it a hazardous material. This meant tons of the mixture needed to be landfilled at a hazardous waste site. Pacific Gas and Electric began to rectify this problem by examining new disposal methods. The goal was to extract water from the sludge in an environmentally friendly manner. Various processes were tested. The sludge was vacuumed, spun, and air-dried, but first attempts at this were only marginally successful. The method producing the best results was the high-pressure squeezing technique. The Lorax company then introduced its own squeezing filtration process, which could reduce the plant's hazardous waste by 2/3 and produce much drier cakes with a simpler method. The sludge is pumped into stacks of sealed chambers. It's then compressed. The water, called filtrate, is drained through a filter cloth and into a collection chamber. It is processed, then put into a storage tank. The clean water is either re-injected into the ground or returned to the system for washing the filter cloths in between uses. The compacted sludge is blown with air until it transforms into a dry cake. The press opens up and the filter cloths advance, dropping the cakes into a storage bin. This automatic process takes about 10 minutes to complete a cycle, allowing one machine to process over 80,000 pounds of hazardous material in one 8-hour day. The Lorax filter press creates hard, dry cakes, which allows for a larger amount of concentrated hazardous waste to be packed into fewer bins. This reduces the amount of needed landfill space by over 65% and allows us to save on non-renewable resources like coal, oil, and gas by using these sources of geothermal steam. And we all breathe a little easier when it comes to air emissions and hazardous waste, our two leading environmental concerns.
25% of all plastic bottles are made from polyethylene terephthalate, or PET. This type of plastic is used to package boil-in-the-bag foods, meats, cosmetics, and carbonated soft drinks. Here is another way plastics are being reused.
Americans throw out more than 180 million tons of solid waste each year. At this rate, over half of our nation's existing landfills will be filled to capacity within the year. At the same time, there is increasing resistance to building new ones. Lever Brothers Company, manufacturers and marketers of household products, is deeply committed to protecting our environment and determined to play its part in helping society find appropriate solutions to our environmental problems. As an example, recycling messages are prominently displayed on the packaging of its products. And through its comprehensive recycling program, more than 53% of its plastic household bottles contain between 25 to 35% of post-consumer recycled plastic. To promote an awareness of recycling at the community level, the company recently joined forces with the Kroger Company, the country's largest food retailer, to sponsor Bartlett Recycles. This is a community recycling and environmental education program in Bartlett, Tennessee. The project features the establishment of a voluntary drop-off center in the market's parking lot. Recycling bins allow for the separation of glass, aluminum, newsprint, and plastics. Promotional materials were designed to encourage people to participate and to educate the public on alternative solutions to the solid waste problem. Lauren Wise, a third grader at Oak Elementary School. Her entry in the community-wide Create a Mascot contest sponsored by Lever and Kroger took first prize. Her mascot, Recycle Rex, is featured as the official mascot of the Bartlett Recycles Community Recycling and Education Program. It's displayed in all local Kroger stores. Another Lever-sponsored recycling project began with a telephone call made by sixth graders at a Collingswood, New Jersey elementary school to a toll-free number listed on a whisk bottle, offering more information about recycling. The result was the dedication of the country's first playground made primarily from recycled materials at William P. Tatum Elementary School on November 22, 1991. From the slide to the swing set, recycled concrete, rubber, wood chips, steel, and plastic were used in its construction. More than 10,000 pounds of plastic that would have normally ended up in a landfill were utilized in this project. This first-of-its-kind playground stands as a national model of a valuable market for recycled plastics and other recycled materials. After receiving first-hand information about recycling, the students responded overwhelmingly. During the first 18 months, the community collected more than 44,000 pounds of plastic for recycling. Lever Brothers, through these partnerships and other community projects, has demonstrated its determination to take innovative steps towards educating the public about the importance of recycling and the need to protect our environment.
Some encouragement to recycle.
Each year, the United States alone produces billions of pounds of plastic, yet the demand currently exceeds supply. 1 out of every 4 PET bottles is now recycled, which accounts for 175 million pounds of plastic being kept from our nation's landfills. But we can do more. Let's examine how.
Trash. The nation produces about 2 million tons of it each year, and we're creating more and more of it every day. We soon may run out of space for it. Landfills, where trash is dumped and buried, are already overloaded and in short supply. The solutions? Recycling, which stops material from entering our landfills, reprocesses it, and new products are manufactured for everyone to purchase. One innovative company, Webster Industries, is actually recycling trash into trash bags. They currently recycle over 70 million pounds of plastics each year, which would otherwise be tossed into a landfill or incinerated. The company recently introduced Renew brand trash bags, the country's first nationally distributed trash bag made of 100% recycled plastics. Renew's 100% recycled content includes over 30% post-consumer material, which includes waste such as milk bottles, dry cleaner bags, stretch wrap, and grocery sacks. Webster is constantly increasing the percentage of post-consumer material used in the makeup of their trash bags. In fact, with the installation of a new state-of-the-art recycling plant, it is their intention to increase the percentage of post-consumer material to 100% by the end of the year. This means less waste will end up in our landfills and incinerators. Recycling also saves energy and preserves natural resources such as petroleum. If every person bought a trash bag made from recycled material instead of a virgin plastic, we'd save the equivalent of over 3 million barrels of oil each year. Since 80% of all Americans now consider themselves green consumers, buying products with an environmental benefit gives everyone a chance to make a difference. To emphasize the fact that recycling saves, the company even recycled a 1950s floor wax commercial to use as their current TV ad. While most people want to do the right thing environmentally, they do not want to sacrifice quality. In fact, producing a high-quality trash bag made entirely of recycled material is one of the challenges this company has met. Renew bags have even earned the Good Housekeeping seal. Recycling is as much of an art as it is a science. Since different materials come into the plant every day, the staff must know how to properly sort, clean, and utilize various types of plastic materials. Recycling dirty, difficult material other companies cannot use allows them to buy plastic waste at low cost and, most importantly, keep it from polluting our environment. The company actually initiates and implements direct recycling programs with retailers and consumers. For example, Webster works with retailers to collect and recycle their plastic wrap. According to the EPA, Americans recycled 18% of their waste in 1991, an increase of over 50% in the last 3 years. And with over 4,000 curbside recycling programs now operating in the United States, recycling is fast becoming an everyday way of life.
Today's environment found that testing soil and groundwater can help uncover hidden problems and ensure the land we build on is safe. According to a recent survey by the Mortgage Bankers Association, 7 out of every 10 real estate projects require an environmental assessment. Next, we'll see just how this type of testing is being achieved.
The Environmental Protection Agency estimates that as many as 1/3 of all the storage tanks in the U.S. may be leaking, causing contamination to soil and groundwater resources, which supply a substantial portion of our drinking water. Some of the contents from leaking tanks and pipelines may also seep into sewer and other utility pipelines, causing explosions. Federal and state laws passed within the last few years require owners and operators of tank and pipeline systems to install leak detection and monitoring systems. Tracer Research Corporation pioneered and developed state-of-the-art technology to detect and locate leaks, as well as to determine the extent of contamination. The company is contracted to conduct leak tests on tanks and pipeline networks at many Air Force bases across the United States, including this one, Ellsworth Air Force Base. Their patented Tracer Tight test accurately detects, quantifies, and locates leaks as small as a few teaspoons a day, including leaks in tanks with capacities of 500 million gallons or more and pipelines several miles long. Scientists install a series of hollow probes underneath tanks and close to pipelines. Samples of soil gas are taken and analyzed with a laboratory gas chromatograph. They're looking for the tracer compound, which is highly volatile and evaporates quickly into a gaseous state. Analysis of samples containing the tracer compound can clearly validate a leak. Finding leaks in large above-ground tanks or long pipeline systems is very complex. Even a pinhole may leak gasoline at a rate of 2 gallons a day. This unique test is the only one that can detect and locate small, continuous leakage to prevent small problems turning into big ones. By using a different tracer compound, a leak can be pinpointed between 2 adjacent tanks or pipelines. Fuel, heating oil, solvents, and other chemicals contained in tanks and pipelines sometimes evaporates into a gas. A soil gas analysis can determine their presence outside the tanks. This technique is known as a soil gas survey, which provides information about the environmental condition of the site. Dr. Glenn Thompson, a former professor of hydrology, founded Tracer Research Corporation. He pioneered the concept of soil gas detection and developed the technology for commercial application. One of the most unusual applications of soil gas surveys is the investigation of large, broad areas, such as a county's water district or an industrial park. The survey will identify which volatile organic chemicals are present in the soil and groundwater and plot their migration path. Contaminated wells and groundwater resources, as well as the probable sources of pollution, are also identified. Companies like Tracer Research, who develop innovative solutions to environmental problems, are providing new careers and jobs at home and abroad. This helps businesses to comply with environmental regulations and protect our environment from further damage.
More than 25% of an average apartment's electrical cost comes from the refrigerator. Recent government standards have made them 10 to 30% more energy efficient. That's a $300 electrical savings over its lifetime. We found another environmentally sound alternative for the future.
Natural gas has long been considered clean, abundant, and economical. It's also a fuel that goes easy on our environment. It doesn't contribute to the greenhouse effect or the hazards of acid rain. It emits very low levels, or none at all, of such pollutants as sulfur dioxide and particulars like ash. Pipelines are the conduits that supply this clean-burning fuel to our homes and industries. Today, more than 1 million miles of natural gas pipelines serve the U.S., but growing demand for this environmentally superior fuel requires building even more. Constructing those lines without undue disruption to our forests, wetlands, and wildlife habitats calls for a sensitive concern for the environment, not to mention a considerable investment toward meeting that commitment. Tenneco Gas, one of the nation's largest transporters of this fuel, assigns about 10% of its construction budget, $15 million this year alone, to assure that building these new pipelines does not damage our ecosystems. They take a proactive approach to environmental issues along its pipeline system, which stretches more than 19,000 miles and serves markets in 31 states. New pipeline routes are carefully plotted to avoid, where possible, fragile ecosystems and the wildlife habitats they shelter. The secret is to build with care and restore with reverence, recreating the original ecosystems in as good and often better shape than the company found them. On another environmental project, the company worked with the U.S. Soil Conservation Service to restore damage caused by saltwater intrusion along the Texas Gulf Coast. Planting the area with marsh grass reduced shoreline erosion and provided feeding areas and breeding grounds for fish and birds. Developing a new transmission line in Massachusetts, the pipeline company encountered another delicate habitat, home to 2 species of turtles, wood and spotted. Biologists carefully combed the construction area for the endangered creatures, removing them from harm's way before work began. As further protection, special fences were erected along the right-of-way to prevent animals from straying back into the construction zone. Then, their habitat restored and fences removed, the turtles came home. In addition to its position as a corporate environmental leader, Tenneco invests a considerable amount of effort in actively promoting natural gas use with the goal of cleaner industries, cleaner automotive fuels, and cleaner air. One such advance is cogeneration, the use of natural gas to generate electricity while recapturing and reusing heat normally wasted in more traditional processes. Another is select-use technologies that combine natural gas with coal or other fuels to provide power while they reduce polluting emissions. And as part of its push for cleaner air, they're involved in developing economical, low-emission natural gas-powered vehicles and the refueling stations needed to supply them. Be it on our roads, in our forests, or in our wetlands, maintaining the Earth's ecological integrity is everybody's business. And when business gets in on the act with a firm, active commitment, everybody benefits.
Both Walden Pond and Walden Woods served as a source of inspiration for Thoreau's far-reaching philosophies and his literary works. The area continues to be a symbol for the peaceful coexistence of man and nature. When Thoreau lived in Walden Woods, he developed a concept of land conservation which serves as a cornerstone for modern ecological science. I'm Ed Begley, Jr. Join me next week as we explore more environmental solutions on today's environment.
This has been a presentation of 5 Star Productions USA. The preceding program was sponsored in part by a grant from Paul Mitchell Salon Hair Care.